Coming up on Mobile Learning in the Classroom, Google Forms. I'm Zoe, and today on Mobile Learning in the Classroom, we're going to look at Google Forms. And I love Google products and I love using them in my classroom, and I found that Google Forms can be a really powerful tool, especially when I'm trying to get the students to engage in peer review processes and with group work. And one of the ways that I've used it in the past, and I'm going to start out showing you a couple of different forms, and then we'll kind of go back and I'll show you how I created them. But they do a project and they each take turns teaching, and then they give their peers feedback on how that went. And in this way, they fill out the form, all of that information is gathered in one place, and as the instructor, I can just take the responses that they've given me and export it to a Google Sheet. And then I have all of my data, all of my feedback in one place. And from that Google form, I can collate it and sort it into useful information for me as the teacher, and giving those students a low stakes way to engage in peer review because they're typing out their responses, so it's a little less pressure than having them give that verbal feedback face to face. And in both ways, they get to take ownership of the project and of the peer review process. One of the other ways that I use Google Forms is when they do group work. Some students are really resistant to it, and students feel sometimes like they don't have an individual voice within the group, especially when things don't go that well. And in this way, the groups are able to give member reviews. So each person in the group reviews each member of their group, and I set it up so that it's on sort of a scale, and they get to determine, okay, on this scale, my coworker fell here. And then at the very end, I give them a space where they can just sort of give narrative feedback if what they're thinking or feeling or experience didn't fall into one of my sort of Likert scale setups. And again, I can take the responses and I can put them into a Google Sheet and I can sort them through. And what I like about this, especially with this group member review, is I can sort it by group name once it's in the Google Sheet. And then I can look at the groups and see the trends and see what's going on. And as a teacher, that can be really powerful feedback to know how they're interpreting the group project, how different groups are assigning tasks, if they are, and ways that as an instructor, I can help facilitate on the front end the group projects so that they can be successful. So we'll go back over, and right now I have a blank Google form. And it default sets to multiple choice questions. And you can title your Google form, so we're going to call it test. And you can give it a short description. And the other thing you can do with Google Forms is you can email them out to students so they don't necessarily have to do them in class. So they can either do them live or they can do it at home. And either way, the information comes to you in Google Drive, so it's all there easily accessible. And then you ask your question, is the sun big? And then you can have it be multiple choice. But if you click on the little drop down, it shows you all of the different options. So you can have a short answer, a paragraph, which is a more narrative answer, multiple choice, check boxes, so if you want them to select more than one answer, drop downs, a linear scale, multiple choice grid, time, and then date. You can also add images. So if you're working with younger students, or if you're working with ESL students, you can use pictures to help bridge that language gap. And you can do these content specific. So I've also seen teachers that use these as quizzes because you can import video, you can import a picture, and you can make these as long or as short as you need to. You can give subtitles. So over here on my peer review form, it's broken out into three major sections. So there's the technology, there's the pedagogy, and there's the content. And so within those, there's sub-questions. So you can really format it to your needs and to the needs of your learners. So I've shown you just a couple of ways to use Google Forms, and I encourage you guys to go out there and try a couple. Start with something low stakes, 1 or 2 questions, see how it goes, see how your students respond to it, and then maybe try integrating it into a larger assignment and see how it goes. But this is Zoe, and today we've looked at Google Forms.